My name is Willow, and I'm 33 years old. This is the story of how I became invisible in my own family, and how one horrible day changed everything forever. Before we dive in, drop your city in the comments. Let's see how far this story travels. And if this resonates with you, hit that like button and subscribe. You never know when you'll need to hear that you're not alone. I grew up in Sacramento, California, in a house that always smelled like my mom's famous garlic chicken and disappointment. My mom, Patricia, was 58 when this happened. My older brother, Cameron, was 36. And me? I was the spare, the backup plan. The daughter who stayed close while Cameron chased his finance career in Manhattan, visiting twice a year with expensive wine and stories about rooftop bars. Mom never said it out loud, but I knew. Cameron was the golden child. Perfect grades, perfect job, perfect life. I was the art teacher who lived 20 minutes away in a cramped apartment with secondhand furniture and student loan debt that would outlive me, but I was the one who showed up every Sunday dinner, every doctor's appointment after Dad died 6 years ago, every middle of the night call when Mom couldn't sleep and needed someone to talk to about nothing and everything. I rearranged my life around hers, and she barely noticed. Cameron would FaceTime from some restaurant with mood lighting, and Mom would light up like Christmas morning. "Oh, sweetheart, you're working so hard. Don't worry about us. Willow's here." Yeah, Willow's here. The breaking point came on a Tuesday in March. Mom had been acting strange for weeks, secretive, taking calls in another room, smiling at her phone. At 58, she'd started wearing lipstick again. I showed up that Tuesday with groceries and found her in the kitchen with a man I'd never seen before. His name was Roger, 62, silver hair, kind eyes, and a laugh that filled the room. Mom introduced him like she was introducing her prom date. "Willow, this is Roger. We've been seeing each other for 3 months." 3 months. She'd kept him secret for 3 months, but I knew what Cameron had for breakfast because she texted me screenshots of his Instagram stories. I tried to be happy for her. I really did. But something felt off. Roger was too smooth, too charming. The way he touched her lower back, the way he called her Patty when she'd always hated nicknames. "Mom, can we talk? Alone?" Her smile faded. "Willow, don't start. I just want to make sure that I'm not being foolish, that I'm not too old to know what I'm doing." "That's not what I meant. Roger and I are moving in together. He's selling his condo, and he'll be here by next month." The kitchen tilted. "Next month? Mom, you barely know him." Roger squeezed her shoulder. "I'll give you some privacy." He left, but his cologne stayed, something expensive and suffocating. Mom's face hardened into something I'd never seen before. "I knew you'd react like this. I'm just worried you're jealous." The word hit me like a slap. "What? You're 33, Willow, single, living in that depressing apartment, teaching kids who don't appreciate you, and you can't stand to see me happy." My throat closed. "I've been here for you every single day since Dad died, and I never asked you to be." Her voice cracked through the kitchen. "You inserted yourself into my life, made yourself necessary, so you'd feel important. But I don't need a babysitter. I need a daughter who's happy for me." The tears came hot and fast. "I am happy for you, but Mom, please, just slow down. Let me meet him properly. Let Cameron meet him." "Cameron already knows. I told him last week. He's thrilled for me. He said Roger sounds wonderful." Of course he did. Cameron, who hadn't seen her face to face in 8 months, gave his blessing, and that was enough. "I've spent 6 years putting you first," I whispered. "Then stop. Go live your own life and let me live mine." "Mom, don't come back, Willow. Not until you can be genuinely happy for me." "I don't need your worry or your judgment. I need support. And if you can't give me that, I don't want you here." I stood in that kitchen, in that house where I'd carved pumpkins and learned to make pancakes and held my dying father's hand. And I was being evicted from my own family. I left without another word. That night, I sat in my apartment, staring at my phone. I wanted to call Cameron, to scream at him, to ask how he could approve of this without even being here. But I didn't. I just sat there, drowning in the silence. I didn't call Mom the next day, or the day after. For the first time in 6 years, I let the silence grow. It grew for 2 weeks. Then came the Sunday morning that split my life into before and after. I woke up at 6:47 a.m. to my phone vibrating off the nightstand. 46 missed calls. 29 from mom's number. 17 from numbers I didn't recognize. My hands shook as I called her back. A man's voice answered. "Is this Willow?" "Yes." "Who is this? Where's my mom?" "This is Sergeant Mike Brennan with Sacramento PD. Ma'am, I need you to come to 2847 Riverside Drive immediately. That's my mom's address." "What happened? Is she okay?" "Ma'am, I can't discuss details over the phone." "How quickly can you get here?" "I made it in 12 minutes. Riverside Drive was blocked off with police cars, their lights painting the morning red and blue. Mom's front door hung open. Neighbors clustered on lawns and bathrobes, phones up. Recording. A female officer stopped me at the driveway. "Ma'am, you can't, I'm her daughter." "Willow Chen." Someone called me. She looked at her radio, then at me, and something in her face softened. "Come with me." Mom was sitting in the back of an ambulance, a blanket around her shoulders, mascara tracking down her face. She looked smaller than I'd ever seen her. When she saw me, she made a sound that wasn't quite human. "Willow," I ran to her, hugged her. She collapsed into me like a child. "Ma'am, I'm Sergeant Brennan." We spoke on the phone. I looked up at him over Mom's shaking shoulders. "What happened?" "Your mother came home last night around p.m. and found her boyfriend, Roger Castellano, in her bedroom. He was in the process of removing items from her safe. When she confronted him, he fled. She called 911. We apprehended him 6 blocks from here." My blood went cold. "He was robbing her?" "It appears Mr. Castellano has a history. This is his 4th known romance scam. He targets widows, moves quickly, gains access to their homes and finances. We've been tracking him for 18 months. Mom let out a sob that shook us both. "What did he take?" I asked. Brennan glanced at his notepad. "Approximately 47,000 in jewelry, including the victim's late husband's watch collection. 6,000 in cash. Several pieces of silverware. We recovered most of it from his vehicle, my dad's watches. The ones Mom kept in the safe because they were too precious to wear. The ones that still smelled like his cologne. Mom, why didn't you call me?" I whispered. She pulled back, her face destroyed. "You told me not to." "I never said that. You told me not to come back. And you didn't. For 2 weeks. You didn't call, didn't text. I thought you meant it. That you were done with me, Mom. I was giving you space. You said you didn't need me. I always needed you." Her voice broke completely. "I was scared and stupid and flattered that someone wanted me again. And I said horrible things to you because you were right to be worried. And I couldn't admit it. And when I found him in my bedroom last night, going through Dad's things, the first person I wanted to call was you. But I thought you hated me." I held her tighter. "I could never hate you." "I called Cameron first," she whispered. "He didn't answer." "I called 17 times. He texted me this morning. He was at some conference dinner and had his phone off." "Of course he did." The next few hours blurred together. Police statements, victim services, a locksmith changing every lock on the house. I called Cameron. He answered on the 5th ring, annoyed. When I told him what happened, he went silent for so long I thought he'd hung up. "I'll get the next flight out," he finally said. "Don't bother." "Where were you when she needed you last night?" "Willow, that's not fair, isn't it? You blessed this relationship without meeting him. You're thrilled for her from 3,000 miles away. But I'm the one who picks up the pieces. I have a career and I don't. I rearrange my entire life for her, and she calls me jealous. You fast time twice a month, and you're the golden child. I'm done, Cameron. I'm so done with being invisible." I hung up on him for the first time in my life. Mom and I didn't talk much that first day. She was too fragile, and I was too angry not at her, but at the situation, at Roger, at how close she'd come to losing everything. She stayed in my apartment that night. I gave her my bed and took the couch. At a.m., I heard her crying in the darkness. I went to her. "I'm so sorry, Willow," she whispered. "For everything. For taking you for granted. For pushing you away. For not seeing you." I climbed into bed next to her like I was 7 years old again. "I'm sorry too. For not fighting harder to stay. for letting my pride get in the way. You were right about him. I didn't want to be. She turned to face me, her eyes swollen and red. Cameron called me 6 times today. Left voicemails about hiring lawyers and freezing my accounts, and how could I be so stupid? Mom, but you didn't say any of that. You just came. You just held me. Because that's what you needed. That's what I've always needed, she said. And I'm so sorry it took me almost losing everything to see it. We lay there in the dark, my childhood house keys on my nightstand. Both of us broken and rebuilding. Roger Castellano was charged with burglary, fraud, and 3 other counts. His lawyer reached out about a plea deal. Mom refused. She wanted her day in court. She wanted to face him. I went with her to every hearing, held her hand while he smirked from the defendant's table, watched her testify with a steady voice about how he'd made her feel young again, wanted again, and how he'd weaponized her loneliness. He got 6 years. It wasn't enough, but it was something. Cameron flew out for the sentencing, stayed for 3 days, took us to an expensive dinner and talked about his promotion. Mom smiled and nodded and asked all the right questions. When he left, she cried again. He doesn't know how to just sit with me, she said. He fixes or he analyzes or he throws money at things, but he doesn't know how to just be here. I know, Mom. You do, though. You always have. Something changed between us after that. The balance shifted. She started calling to ask about my day, not just to tell me about hers. She came to my apartment for dinner instead of always expecting me at hers. She met my work friends, asked about the new guy I was cautiously dating, remembered details about my life that she'd never seemed to notice before. We talked about Dad for the first time in years, really talked about how much we missed him, how hard it had been, how lonely she'd been. I was so desperate not to be alone that I ignored every red flag, she said one night over wine. I wanted someone to choose me so badly that I pushed away the person who'd been choosing me every single day. I'm not going anywhere, Mom. I know, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you know that you're seen, that you matter, that you're not the spare, you're the foundation. We sold Dad's watch collection, the pieces Roger hadn't managed to steal. Used the money to take a trip together, just us, to Seattle. We walked Pike Place Market and ate fresh oysters and laughed until we cried and cried until we laughed. Cameron sent a care package. We appreciated it, but we didn't need it. I'm 34 now. Mom is 59. We have lunch every Tuesday and alternate Sundays between her place and mine. She's dating again, slower this time, smarter. I met him on the 3rd date. His name is Leonard. He's a retired teacher, and he doesn't have a criminal record. But more importantly, Mom doesn't need him to complete her. She's complete on her own. We both are. And when my phone rings at midnight and it's her, just wanting to talk, I answer every single time. Because I'm not the backup plan anymore. I never was. I was always the one who showed up, and sometimes showing up is the quietest, most powerful form of love there is. The 46 missed calls are still saved on my phone. I'll never delete them. They remind me that even in our darkest moments, even when we push away the people who love us most, there's always a chance to come back. To be seen. To be enough. My name is Willow, and this is the story of how my mother and I found each other in the wreckage, and how sometimes the people who hurt us most aren't the ones who leave, they're the ones who never truly see us until they almost lose us.